Hi everybody, this week's video is mainly about bees and beans. So we're going to start off with our bees. Now here's a polynuke. Now we did a split a few weeks ago, so this colony have now had 3 weeks in this double brood nuke, and what they've done is they've effectively drawn out loads of honeycomb. The queens laid loads of eggs, and when I checked the other day they were getting close to emerging, so this colony is suddenly going to explode in numbers. So what we have to do now is we have to put them into a full hive because they are ready to be moving on now. So we've put the floor down to start with, which is where they go into the hive, and we've just added the empty brood box. So now the next job is we just have to transfer all of the frames from the polynuke into the brood box. So I've just checked the queen isn't hanging around under the lid there, she's not. So now we just have to move the frames across. So we've got 12 frames in the double green polynuke there, and we only need 11 in our brood box. So there'll be one that we won't have to use. So each time I'm going through, I'm just checking the queen is there because we need to make sure she's around and she's going into the main box. Now there's loads of eggs, so we know she's been laying, and they are only eggs for 3 days, so we know she's been around there, and we actually found her, which was great news. Now the first frame in the second box, they hadn't drawn out the wax. Sometimes they do that, so we don't need that one. That's great. So that's the spare frame, and there's the last one going in, just slotting it into place. Still lots of bees circling around, just trying to orientate them to their new home now. So there's still a few bees hanging around in the polynuke because the smell of the queen is still in there. Her pheromones are there, so they still keep coming back to that. So we give them a good shake out, and we're going to give them a super, and that's just got foundation in the frames. So what we need the bees to do now is to draw out the wax on it so they can put supplies of food in, and also the queen can lay more eggs. But because we're getting towards the end of the spring nectar flow, and nectar is what they use to draw out the wax, we're giving them some syrup, some sugar syrup. So it's just 1 part water to 1 part sugar, and this replicates nectar, so they will use that to help draw out all of that wax, because it takes a huge amount of food for them and energy for them to produce the wax. And I'm just tipping a little bit down the middle of the hole there so they know it's there, and then we just put an empty soup around it, and then the lid goes on, and then that is job done. Those bees are safely established in the new home. They've got plenty of room. They should be happy little campers now. Now, where these hives are, there's a lot of deer about. So one of the risks is the deer can knock into the hive. So we put ratchet straps around them, so if they do get knocked into by deer, and even if it tips the hive over, it's going to stay intact. So it wouldn't be such a problem. Not great, but not such a problem. So now we're moving on to the second hive. Now, those of you who remember from a few weeks ago, we caught one of our own swarms. This was that swarm, and they have been going crazy in this hive. They've tried to put more swarm cells up, so I'm not quite sure why. I think it was a lack of space, so I gave them more space last week. Now this super here will be taking the honey next week. This will be ours. So yeah, that is pretty much full. I'm happy with that one. So now we're just got to check what is going on. Are they trying to swarm still? Are they happy with the space that I gave them last week? We're about to find out. So this is it's a super where they normally put honey in, but we're using it as a half a brood box, and that is full of eggs. So I'm just passing it over to Glenda. Last week it was just pure foundation. They have been working so hard, and there was no cells, so they're not trying to swarm from that box anyway. So let's have a look in the main brood box. So same thing, we are going through, we're looking for the queen, we're looking for eggs, and we're looking to see if they're drawing out any queen cells, which is a sign that they're about to swarm. Now thankfully this week we found the queen, and she is a huge queen. She is so productive, and there was no swarm cells, so the extra room made the difference. They've had a job to do, and they focused on that rather than trying to abscond the hive. So we can put it back together, safe in the knowledge that they are okay for at least another week. So on goes the queen excluder. This just stops the queen being able to get any higher than that box, which means she can't lay any eggs where the honey is, where we're going to extract it hopefully next week. Ratchet strap on, and that is done. So I am well chuffed with that. And then Glenda got a nice close-up of the bees going in. You can't quite see it on here, but there was some funky colour pollen going into these hives. There was some really deep purples and some really vibrant reds. So then when we'd finished, we went for a walk around the farm just to see if we could find what there was. Well, we found a common orchid, so they're not going to get too much out of that, but lovely flower, and lots of campions coming out now as well. So they're probably getting a little bit of forage from that, but that does not explain the pollen that we were seeing. But then we found this field. Now this is red clover, not so exciting, but this is exciting. This is Phacelia, and we looked up when we got home. Phacelia has like a really vibrant lilac-y, purpley pollen, so that was that. Anyway, on to some Martha dog training now. This was actually at official Gundog training, and rather worryingly we were being taught to get Martha to jump over fences and cross ditches, which I didn't think was a great idea, but the trainer said she needs to do it, it'll be good for her mental stimulation. Just a little bit worried she might try and abscond from our garden out of our 3-foot fence at the back, but we'll see. So Martha's only had a couple of attempts going over a fence, so this is pretty new to her, and it's the first time the dummy's been thrown over as well. So let's see how she gets on.
Over. Well done.
Oh, what a natural. Like red rum, well, probably more desert orchid given her colour, but that was pretty impressive. So then up to the allotment. The weather's turned for the better now. The frost date has now been passed, so I've put out all of our winter squashes. They were well established, and the blotty beans and the runner beans were going crazy in the greenhouse. They really needed to go out. Look at the size of them. So I'm really pleased with this. We've got a week of like 20-degree plus weather, warm nights, perfect. And look at me, look like one of the flower pot men with my dodgy hat on there, but at least it was keeping the sun off my neck. So that's all the blotties in and the runner beans in, and they've even got some tendrils which I'll be able to wrap around some of the canes as well. So as it's so hot and dry at the moment, they are going to get a serious amount of water just to get them bedded in and to keep them going. And there we go, that's the last 2 watered happy days. Now, my final job at the allotment, Glenda had 2 dahlias which have been decimated by slugs amongst these other plants here. So I've come up with an ingenious idea. I had some offcuts of roof felt. I thought they are not going to like that. I'm going to give it a go. So here I am cutting up some roof felt, and I'm going to try and slot it around the bottom of the dahlia just to see whether that will stop the slugs trying to get onto and eating these dahlias. Now I do realise there could be a problem here, which is how do you get water through roof and felt? So I think I may have to water them by hand, take the felt off and put it back on again. But I'm going to give it a go. I don't like to put slug pellets down. We're kind of pretty much against that. So we'll see how we get on. And then I got home and look at this. My new toy had arrived. Can you guess what it is? It's a new honey extractor. Now this is an upgrade from, I've currently got one which spins out 3 frames at a time. This one does 9, so I'm really excited, and it's going to get used next week. So next week's video will include us doing honey extraction, so look out for that one. Thanks for watching, have a great week everyone, and see you soon. Bye.